Good morning, everybody. This is Steve with Real Progressives. There's an article I put into the narrative of this live stream today about how the Republicans are outraged at the deficit. And this is old. This is a couple weeks back. I think it was October 16th in Vice. But this is done over and over again. This isn't a new outrage. This is a game. This is political theater. Going way back, Democrats have tried to brand themselves as the party of fiscal responsibility, that the Republicans come in, they do all these horrible things, and then it takes the Democrats to come in to fix what the Republicans screwed up. And what happens is that the Democrats come in, and it's like this weird 50-50 strategy. You need to pay attention for a minute. The Democrats come in saying they want to give you health care. Democrats come in and say that they want to give you, green energy. They tell you they want to make sure that, single moms have, choices, and they want to make sure that children are not left behind, and they want to fix education. They want to do all these things. But then their first response to economics is that they want to reduce the deficit. This is the Democrats' go-to strategy every single time. Now, on the flip side, the Republicans come through and they say that we've got to slash taxes because we know that taxes don't fund spending. So it's like, okay, so what's up? The Republicans are getting this, right? They always slash it at the top. They always leave it at the bottom to go ahead and bleed out. They're counting on this trickle-down economics. Right, they're counting on tax cuts up here will somehow or another matriculate their way through the economy. And it never happens. It just never happens, right? So we've got these two, and it's like at the halfway point, the Republicans get economics in some ways better than the Democrats do. And on the flip side, the Democrats absolutely don't get economics, but they get the idea that we need to have these social programs. So it's like this X that can't be solved under the current paradigm. It can't be solved because you either have to fix the Democrats or you have to fix the Republicans, or you have to fix both of them and ignore the parties and present the way the economics works, because the Republicans are right in the sense we should cut the hell out of taxes, at least for the regular people, the 99%. We're paying way too many taxes for the limited services that we actually get. We don't even have single-payer health care in this country, and we pay taxes through the nose. So there's no way to resolve this. Do you understand me? As it currently stands, your vote blue wave is going to reduce the deficit, which is by its very nature too complicated for you to understand. So it's going to harm the poor. Do you understand? This is the game. And then they're going to complain that they had to reduce the deficit because of Republicans' irresponsible tax cuts. And Republicans are then going to say, oh my God, the national debt is unsustainable. We've got to slash spending, because if we don't slash spending, we're going to pass on this unsustainable debt to our children. Do you understand that they're literally incompatible? There is no reconciling this. So when you tell someone to Democrat, you have a poison pill. When you tell someone to vote Republican, you have a poison pill. When you tell someone to vote green, you have a poison pill, because by doing any of these things, you have literally put us into the no-win position. Yes, the Democrats are saying better things. They're saying things that we all want to hear. The Green Party is saying great things that we all want to hear. But the economics is in this X. It doesn't work. It is impossible to work. And so when you start realizing this, you realize that it's not only the system is rigged, the system is very straightforward. We can make the system work for us. The system isn't what the problem is. I'm telling you, you may think it is, but that's just because you haven't taken the time to learn the economic message. So when Democrats say reduce the deficit, Republicans say let's cut taxes. When Democrats say we got to spend on the people, Republicans say we got to worry about the debt. This is the cross. I'm telling you, please pay attention. They are irreconcilable, and they will stay this way until you pull back away from the vote blue no matter who, vote red. And it's not about who you vote for. This is about the mindset. This is about your messaging. This is about the things you start to care about in the long run. There's a lot of people out there who act like I don't know what I'm talking about. And that's fine. I welcome you to a debate at any time. And with all due respect, I have a lot of bottled up energy inside me, so I can't guarantee it's going to go well for you. All right? Because I'm pretty angry because I get the X. I see it clearly, crystal clearly. So for me, it's driving me insane. And to see people that are my friends, to see people that are supposedly my fellow revolutionaries, to see my friends that don't get this and refuse to get this, make me absolutely go apoplectic, make me lose my mind, because this right here is the thing. Democrats say that they want these things. You guys want these things. We all want these things. Stop acting like the Democrats are pushing for these horrible they say they want, remember key words, they say they want universal health care. They say they want green energy. They say that they want to end wars for oil. They say the things that you and I want to hear. They say they want free college. They say they want a job guarantee. But then they get down to the bottom. It's like this great, it's like you go to a place that you're going to buy a new house from, and they give you all the options. You're like, yeah, give me the extra upgraded countertops. Yeah. And give me that special water faucet. Yeah. And I love the flooring. Yes. Add that option too. Yes. And then they get down to the bottom line and the pay is like $50 bazillion. And you're like, how do I do this? I can't do this. It's irreconcilable. They said everything great in the bill of materials. When you got down to how to pay for it, you were FUBAR. You couldn't get there, right? And it's going to stay that way until you understand that we create the dollar. So their entire premise of reducing the deficit is completely the poison pill to everything that they said they wanted in the wish list. Every single thing they said they wanted in the wish list. Done. Can't be done. And that's why they always retreat back and say, well, you know, we got to just vote for the better, the most progressive person. We can't worry about all the economic stuff, Steve. It's too much to worry about. And then when we look over at the Republicans, no joke, I watch our friends in the Democratic Party and in the Green Party sitting there yelling about the fact that the Republicans are blowing up the deficit. They're yelling about them blowing up the deficit. Well, the deficit is your and my money. The public side doesn't matter because they create that money. So the Republicans get the economic side accidentally. By accident, they're getting it. But then they know how reflexive the left is. They know the left won't fight for what it wants, that bill of materials, all these things they want. They'll fight to reduce the deficit because they just reflexively are against what the Republicans say. Instead of making tax cuts for the little people, instead of identity politics that would solve all of our problems, they choose to pick and choose winners and losers. So it's an automatic poison pill. It will always fail every single time. You'll get excited, and then won't work. Ever, never, ever will work. This is the setup, folks. It's not the system. It's the storyline. It's the storyline you tell your friends, you've been telling your friends, your party tells you, all this stuff. Folks, the problem is not the enemy. We are our own enemy here. We are our own enemy here. And I get people telling me, you can't build a mass movement criticizing yourself. Well, folks, it's us. We got to get off the merry-go-round. We got to get off the merry-go-round and see the story for what it is. Do you know Section M of the Green Party national platform says that they're petrified of the national debt? I'm not joking. The Green Party, this is supposed to be the left wing of America, says that we're worried about the unsustainable national debt. Folks, that doesn't work. It's a lie. Do you understand? So if you worry about the Democrats and then you jump over to the Greens thinking, well, the Greens are so much more left. I'm here to tell you the Greens think that taxes pay for spending. David Cobb will run around saying that taxes pay for spending. Jill Stein will say it over and over again. So this is universal. All of our good guys, all the people that we want are saying the same non-working lies. Are they ignorant? I don't know. Are they stupid? I don't think so. So why do they continue this thing? Mostly because you believe it. Mostly because you have not been able to break free of the household analogy with the way the federal government that creates money from scratch. And you who cannot create money from scratch, you who will go and lose your home because you don't have enough check marks in the checking account. You and I will lose our health care because we can't pay for our medical bills. We can't pay for our deductible. We can't pay for our monthly premium. Whatever it is, we'll lose because we can't create enough money. We have to keep chasing a dollar. They create it from thin air, folks. Why are they worried about reducing the deficit? Do you understand? It's unsustainable. The cross is real. Watch every time Robert Reich, every time Paul Krugman sits there and bitches and moans about deficits when the Republicans are in office, they set the stage for the next time that the roles are flipped. Now Democrats want to spend and Republicans want to cut. They've got the same exact problem. Checkmate XO. You've got tic-tac-toe. It is unwinnable. Game over. This is war games. We all lose. This is it. We all lose. And I get ridiculed. I get tormented. I get trashed for telling you this. Folks, I've been doing this for years and I have lost more friends than you will ever know. My name has been smeared all over the internet for sitting there saying stuff like this. And I keep saying it because it's true. And the people that have fought against me are just not getting it. And they have set us all up to fight amongst each other in the crab barrel as we're trying to crawl out of the barrel to survive. They have decided, no, nobody survives if I don't survive. And they pull you back into the crab barrel so you get boiled. I'm here to tell you, I have been doing this fight for a long time. I just pulled up my old pastor from a church I used to go to many, many moons ago, National Community Church on Capitol Hill. I used to be a real, true, honest to God right-winger. I mean, right winger, Christian fundamentalist right-winger. And I sat there in the streets, in the alleyways, sitting on trash bags with homeless people, talking to them about recovery and all sorts as a right-winger. Okay, I'm telling you, I sat there and I did this stuff. And as I'm watching him, he just wrote this great post. And this guy is a world-renowned pastor. I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want him to get bombarded. He's a good guy. And he came out and said, this is why Donald Trump has hurt Christians so much. And he broke this thing down about all, we all got greedy. We were all hoping for an extra nickel. We asked for all these things. And what did we do? We made a deal with the devil. And it was just beautifully put from a Christian right-wing perspective, denouncing Donald Trump. Now, I'm trying to show you that everybody isn't this black and white ones and zero. So in order to penetrate a large swath of people to end this X paradigm that I'm telling you about, we've got to be able to talk to them too. I'm going to try and reach out to him. I'm not going to tell you who he is, but I'm going to try and reach out to him and share what modern monetary theory is. Can you imagine Christians? Now think about this. Christians want to help the poor. Christians want to do good things. They just don't understand certain things. Just like you all didn't. Just like these parties don't. Just like many of us don't. But they want a lot of the same things we want. In fact, many of us are Christians. So if you think about what I'm saying, what happens when you smash the lies? How big does your coalition grow? How big does the opportunity for a mass movement grow? What is the potential for smashing the false paradigm that this X creates? I'm telling you, we've been doing the same partisan nonsense year after year. Every election cycle is the most important election cycle you've ever voted in. Every single time you've cast a vote, it's the most important vote you've ever cast. Every candidate that you've ever seen up there is a life and death candidate. Every single time. I mean, wash, rinse, repeat. It's the same shit, different day. We need a movement, Patty. That's right. We need a movement. And that's what I've been about. I'm telling you, once I learned, I want you all to hear something. I'm going to take you on a short MMT journey here for a minute. Now, I just told you that I was a radical, right-wing, conservative Christian Republican. I listened to Rush Limbaugh every day. I listened to Focus on the Family. I listened to James Dobson. Folks, I'm telling you straight up, I was straight dope right-wing OG. Then the great global financial crisis hit, and I lost almost everything. That wasn't enough to change me. But when I learned MMT, when I began to understand the cruelty baked into the lies, I realized so much of what I had believed was completely wrong. It was MMT that made this right-wing guy become a left-wing guy, become a guy who wanted to see equality, because I understood how the system was working. I understood how it worked, and I understood how it was being played. And once those lights go on, I haven't been able to take a day off in years. I'm talking about this fire that burns inside me has raged on for a decade. Do you get this? For a decade, I have been feeling the way I'm feeling now. In fact, I used to have a place called Grumbine's Political Mosh Pit. And that's where I was exposed to MMT. Do you know many of the people from Grumbine's Political Mosh Pit absolutely despise me because I was a right-winger, and then suddenly I became and they wanted to pull me back in the back. No, Grumbine, you're a right-winger, baby. Come on back over here. No, you don't get to change. No, you can't change. So I'm glad Karen, let me tell you what MMT is. MMT is called modern monetary theory. That T word gets a lot of people screwed up. Don't worry about the T because it's just a name, but it is a theoretical framework for analyzing the economy. But what MMT does, it's got part theory. In other words, there's stuff that we don't know, but we can extrapolate and we can view things through a lens. It's kind of a way of seeing the world. But then there's another side of MMT, which is what we call operational reality. So you've got the way the things work, and then you got the things we could do with it once we know how it works. This part, that's science. There's no getting around it. It's pure 100% science. And it talks about the way sovereign, free-floating fiat currency works. Now, sovereign fiat currency, many countries have one. You look at Japan. You look at Australia. You look at Canada. You look at China. You actually look at the UK. Many of these countries have a sovereign free-floating fiat currency. But then you look at places like the EU, like with all the European Union places, they have given up their monetary sovereignty to the EU. Now what they have is they're like a state. So I don't want to get too far into it. Bottom line is that a sovereign free-floating fiat currency means that you can create it at will, that it's not pegged to gold, and that it's tax-driven. In other words, you have an obligation to spend in that currency. And that currency is the US dollar. That's what gives it its strength. That's what gives it its power. It's not oil. It's not anything else. And once you understand that, you stop letting people that are not economists, and here I am saying this, and I'm just a lay economist at that, But when you allow the real world to seep into your mind and you start saying, well, wait a minute, where does a dollar come from? It comes from a keystroke. They mark accounts up, and when you tax, they mark them down. That's it. There is no such thing as a surplus. When your dollar gets paid in tax, it's deleted. When they spend, they keystroke dollars into existence. The dollars come to be. They're spent into existence. The Federal Reserve doesn't randomly create dollars. What the Federal Reserve does is when the federal government says, hey, here's a bill. Now, please go ahead and put this much money into the Treasury's account. It takes its finger and it taps and marks the account up, and it spends that money into existence. It's really kind of simple. It's like Monopoly almost, right? So when we talk about the way the parties talk about, oh my God, we got to reduce the deficit. What is the deficit? Let's talk about that for a second. Deficit is simply the difference between the amount of money the government spent in a given year. It's a year by year thing. The amount of money the government spent into the economy versus the amount of money the government taxed out of the economy. You ask me, what is the debt? Glad you asked. The debt, depending upon which side of the ledger you're on, if you look at the debt as the government side, it's the amount of untaxed dollars that are in the economy. It is all the treasury bonds that have been bought and sold that have not been, cashed out, et cetera. It's the sum total of all of our money that's in the economy. And you look at what that means to you and I, and that's our net assets. That's all the dollars to the penny that are in the private sector. Pretty interesting, right? So when they say we got to pay down the debt, all they're talking about is countries that already took US dollars that they had, and they put them in a savings account that earns a modest interest. That's it. Nothing more than that. So why do we have to reduce it? Does your bank freak out when it has savings accounts? I don't think so. So what I'm trying to tell you is this. The narrative that they tell you, both Republican and Democrat, is equally a lie. The difference is the Republicans, when they say we're going to reduce taxes, well, that's not going to bankrupt the nation. However, if they don't do the tax cuts on the little guys, it could exacerbate wealth inequality. And that's something that's very bad, right? We want to stop that from happening. But when we say we can't afford Medicare, or how are you going to pay for it? That is neoliberalism. Whenever you hear someone tell a congressperson, well, how are you going to pay for it? If it's a newspaper, it's neoliberal. If it is another politician, it's a neoliberal lie. Once you understand that we can afford all this stuff, we can get rid of student debt. We can get rid of all these ball and chains. We can literally give everybody full free health care. There is such a thing as a free lunch. The problem is politicians are not going to be the one that goes out there and tells you this stuff. It's up to us to demand they tell the truth. If you just go around putting your fist in the air, yelling and screaming for your candidate, you haven't served your country. You haven't helped the people, because that candidate is waiting for you to make it unpleasant for him or her to continue the lie. We must give them air cover. We have a sacred duty, if you will, as citizens, as parents, as grandparents, to save our environment by spending crazy amounts of money right now to do whatever it takes to clean the environment up. We have a sacred responsibility to make sure every person that wants a job has a job, that we should eradicate involuntary unemployment forever. And if we ever somehow or another stumble into some sort of inflation, we can certainly raise taxes to slow the economy down. We can certainly use other monetary instruments to slow the economy down. We can do a host of things. Don't worry, be happy, but fight for the right things. I'm telling you, I'm watching the orthodox economists on Twitter fighting with us, with the people on our team, the Stephanie Keltons of the world. And these people are flailing around like a demon is leaving their body because they realize that we are winning. They realize that MMT is exactly the exact description of how it works. And Japan, you name it, all around the world. This is not just a US thing. There's a big war, and it's way more fun than the stupid Republicans versus Democrats. And it's way more deep, and it's way more true. And you will see real results, folks. Join in the movement. Please help us spread the word of MMT. Please dig in and learn. We will provide resources. Please follow us here at Real Progressives. I'm telling you, we will continue to bring experts to you. It's very vital that we each one teach one and that we learn MMT. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives, and I'm hoping you all take a cue from this and take some action. Please, if you want to volunteer, we need people to help us out. If you have any money to spare, we, of course, can use donations as well. But more importantly, we need to teach people how to go about this so that we can change the world for our futures, for our children's futures, and for each other. Have a great day, everybody. I'm out.